All right, let's jump right in. If you're using a computer with Windows 10, and let's be honest, that's a lot of us, your PC has a major deadline coming up. It's a really important date that's going to affect your security and how you use your machine every single day. So let's break down what you absolutely need to know. Here is the date, October 14th, 2025. You're going to want to circle that one on your calendar because, for all intents and purposes, it's the expiry date for Windows 10. After this day, the way your computer works and, more importantly, how it stays safe is going to change and change dramatically. Which, of course, leads to the big question. What actually happens when the clock ticks over? Does your computer just stop working? Or can you carry on like it's business as usual? Let's get into the specifics of what this date really signals is the end of an era. It's when Microsoft officially pulls the plug on supporting Windows 10 for pretty much everyone. In the tech world, they call this end of support.
So what does end of support actually mean for you? Well, in the simplest terms, it means that the automatic protection you've been getting this whole time just gets switched off. No more security patches to fend off new threats, no cool new features, and no official help from Microsoft if something goes haywire.
And this is where it gets serious, because this leads to some very real-world problems. You know, while sticking with what's familiar might seem like the easy path, it actually comes with some major risks you really need to be aware of.
Okay, the biggest risk here by a long shot is security. Without those regular updates, your PC basically becomes a sitting duck for new viruses, scams, you name it. It's the digital equivalent of leaving your front door unlocked. And it's not just about security. Your computer will start to feel, well, old. New programs might not be compatible, you won't get any new features, and you'll be on your own without Microsoft's official support.
This table really just lays it all out, nice and clear. Once that deadline hits, an unsupported Windows 10 gets a big red X next to security updates, new features, and official support. But with Windows 11, you get a green checkmark on all of it, included as standard. The difference in what you're getting is just, it's night and day. And you know what? That difference in security is something we can actually measure. According to PC Mag, modern PCs that are running Windows 11 are twice as resistant to malware. That is not a small number. It's a huge leap in protection, and it's one of the main reasons Microsoft is really pushing for this change.
So, if staying on Windows 10 is risky, what's the alternative actually like? Let's take a look at Windows 11. Not as this scary, complicated thing, but as Microsoft's attempt at a simpler, cleaner, and just more modern way to use your computer. One of the very first things you'll notice is the new look. On the left, you've got that classic Windows 10 Start menu, which, let's be real, can get a bit cluttered. But on the right, you see Windows 11. It moves everything to the center and just simplifies it down to a clean grid of the apps you use most. The whole idea is to help you find things faster and focus.
And this isn't just about making things look pretty. As tech writer Huey Poplock points out, it's really about making the computer easier to use. He says, bigger text and icons, everything is easier to see, especially for tired eyes. And that's a really thoughtful change that makes a genuine difference in daily use.
Windows 11 also has this fantastic new tool for anyone who multitasks. If you're someone who always has a bunch of windows open at once, this feature is going to help you organize your screen so neatly without all that clicking and dragging and resizing.
It's called Snap Layouts, and it is so easy to use. All you do is hover your mouse over that little maximize button in the top right corner of any window. A little menu of grids just pops up. You pick the layout you want, click the spot where you want your window to go, and bam! Everything just snaps perfectly into place. It's an absolute game changer for getting stuff done.
Okay, so whenever there's a big tech change like this one, it's totally normal to have a ton of questions, and maybe a little bit of hesitation. So let's just tackle the most common ones head on.
These are almost always the first two things people ask. Can my current computer even run this thing? And, maybe more importantly, how much is this going to cost me?
Let's start with the cost, because that's the easy one. The upgrade itself is completely free, as long as you're already running a genuine copy of Windows 10. The main hurdle is hardware. Your PC needs a fairly recent processor and a special security chip called the TPM 2.0. Now don't get bogged down in the jargon. The best way to think of a TPM is like a dedicated security guard that's built right into your computer. And look, you don't have to guess.
Microsoft offers a free PC Health Check app that'll tell you instantly if your machine's up to the task.
This is a huge one, especially if you're perfectly happy and comfortable with Windows 10 right now. That fear of having to learn a whole new system from scratch is probably one of the biggest reasons people put off upgrade.
But the truth is, the learning curve might not be nearly as steep as you're imagining. Huey Poplock really says it best. Don't worry, it's still Windows. Most things work the same way. The core of it, opening your files, browsing the web, checking your emails, it all feels very familiar. It's more like a visual refresh than a whole new instruction manual. So, at the end of the day, this really comes down to you making the right choice for your own situation. Let's run through a quick checklist to help you figure out what the best move is.
Here's a pretty simple way to think it through. First, hardware. Run that free PC Health Check app. That's your first step. Second, software. Odds are everything will work just fine, but it's worth double-checking any really old or critical programs you rely on. Then you've got comfort. Are you actually ready for a fresh look and feel? And finally, maybe the most important question is about your needs. How much do you personally value that top-tier security and the new features we've talked about?
And no matter what you decide, you're definitely not alone. This chart shows that while plenty of people are still using Windows 10, the tide is turning. Almost a third of all Windows users have already made the jump to Windows 11. So the trend toward the new system is clear, and it's only growing. So really, it all boils down to two clear paths forward. If your current computer is compatible, you can upgrade it to Windows 11 for free. Simple. If it's not, or if it's just getting a bit old and slow anyway, this deadline could be the perfect excuse to think about investing in a new computer that comes with all that modern security and all those new features built right in from day one.
So we'll just end on this thought. Your computer isn't just a machine, right? It's your connection to your family, to your friends, it's your bank, it's your window to the entire world. With this deadline getting closer and closer, the question is actually pretty simple. Isn't it time to check the locks on your digital front door?